welcome to the Excel Woman TV show, where we equip, empower, and encourage women for success in business and life. My name is Tobi. Today, I'm interviewing an excelling lady. She's the founder of her own organic skincare range. She's been in the beauty industry for 25 years and as a result, launched her own range at the Urban Retreat at Harrods here in the UK. She's also an international speaker and she's been featured in major national and international press, including the Wall Street Journal, Vogue, Tatler, Elle, just to name a few. Antonia Burrell, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so great to be here and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to have her and you're going to find out why very soon. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. Okay. Which one should I let out first? Okay, the big one. Look at this lovely lady and just guess right where you are what you think her age is. And I'm just about to tell. Make sure you've guessed. I'm going to give you just 1 minute to guess. Well, that's enough now. Keep that in your mind. And she's just about to tell you, Antonia, give them an idea of that magic that you want.
Wow. Well, you want to tell them my age?
Well, we talked about this before. Go on. Let's show you off.
I am 45 years old.
Oh my gosh. Can you believe that? I know that you know and I know that she doesn't look anywhere near that. I'm going to get myself some of what she's having. All right then. So there's a question that I would really love to ask you. So you are in the beauty industry now. You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, you're a walking billboard of your product. I'm still trying to get that in.
Thank you so much.
So tell me, but did you know that you always wanted to do this? What did you want to be when you were a child, when you were young? What did you think you wanted to be?
When I was younger, I actually wanted to be an educational psychologist.
What kind of child was that?
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go into psychology. I was always nosy. I was always asking my mum why, what, how. And I just wanted to get into people's mind. I wanted to understand why they did what they did, why they said what they said, what made people tick. And I just wanted to figure it all out. And then I went on to study psychology and found a love for the cognitive side of psychology, which is all about the thinking side.
That's amazing. As in, it sounds a lot like children being curious, but not to that extent. As in, obviously she's very, very different. But So tell us a little bit about your journey. You look amazing. I keep saying that because I can't get over it. And you've launched your own organic skincare range, and you did that at the Urban Retreat here in Harrods.
Yes.
And that's a great place to launch your product. Also, you've been featured in so much press. Press that a lot of us would be looking at. A lot of women out there would be thinking, I would like to be featured. In that kind of press. What did you do to get here? Give us a glimpse of your journey.
It's been a long journey. And as you said earlier, I've been in the business for 25 years. So in the making. So I've had my brand for the last 5 years. Okay. So you can imagine 20 years before that, there's a lot of experience that's been gained. And I guess the consistency of being in the same industry has helped. But it didn't all start so smoothly. I was brought up in a Christian home. And on a Friday evening, we had to be at home by sunset. And there was no playing, there was no messing around. It was Sabbath and you were at home. So in the winter, when the evenings got light very quickly, we had to be at home. And every Saturday we were at church. And my father's a pastor and it was, that is what it was. So can you imagine as a 16-year-old or as a 17-year-old, or even as an 18-year-old, being stuck in the house on a Friday night?
No, I can't.
All your friends are going out and everyone's having a great time and you have to be at home because your parents say that. And back in the day, I'm 45 by the way, so we listened to our parents. There was we chat back. It was what they said went. So that was that. There was no negotiation. Anyway, as a teenager, my skin played up, as it does. And
There's
I
no
went,
evidence of it right
well,
now.
it really did. It really did. It broke out in acne. It broke out in all sorts of different issues. What then transpired from that, because I'm intrinsically nosy, I'm just like, what is going on? I'm also vain. So it was like, what is going on? Why is my skin doing this? I want to know. I want to know. So back then in Derbyshire, where I was brought up, you had a couple of stores. You had Boots and you had Debenhams. Debenhams was way out of my league. So I went to Boots. And I went to Boots and I asked a few of the ladies at the counter and said, what do you think would work for my skin? And I went round a few because I thought, well, I'm not going to ask one.
Yes.
And do you know something? They all said different things to me, completely different. So I was just like, how can that be right? It can't be right. Because you're saying my skin's dry, you're saying my skin's oily, you're saying my skin's this and that. I was like, this is crazy. So I saved up my pocket money. And the bookshop in Derbyshire at the time was this shop called Dillon's. And I bought probably the most advanced book in cosmetic chemistry.
I'm not surprised. By your mind.
Yeah, it was really advanced. It was all about cosmetic chemistry. And I bought a book also about beauty therapy. Took those books home. And you never guess what? Friday night became my love of reading about the skin, because we couldn't do anything else. I was fascinated by what was going on my skin. And the more that I began to read about this stuff, the more that I began to get into it, I was like, this is so interesting. And I fell in love with the organ called the skin. So as your parents do, they've got really high aspirations for you. So we were going to be nonetheless of doctors, lawyers, accountants, nothing less than that.
Tell me about it.
So the educational psychology just about passed. But because I had such a rough childhood in terms of being in hospital for most of my childhood with asthma, I guess for me, and I don't know, this might not be right, but I didn't really feel, and I didn't actually get as much schooling as my peers did, because I spent most of my time in hospital with asthma. So I just didn't feel that I was clever enough. Anyway, I went through, got my A-levels, got into university for this psychology, but I wasn't very good at maths and I didn't like maths. Because I've started having this love for the skin, I just thought, what the hell am I going to do spending 3 years of my life doing a degree and 1 year being statistics, which is a subject I hate. So I went behind my parents' back and I looked back then, we had these big manuals for university. So I looked for some universities that were doing beauty therapy because I knew I didn't have the brains to study to become a doctor or the grades. I thought back then, but I didn't back then. I would not get A's.
You were not that way inclined.
Well, I just wasn't there, and I didn't study chemistry, biology,
because you
and physics at A level. So I wasn't going down that route.
That way,
So I called these colleges up. There were so I said, I want to find the highest level of beauty therapy training in the UK. Back then it was a course called the HND. So I called these places up. One was a university and one was a college. One was in London, one was in Chichester. And the one in London, I thought, we need to get into this one because that's where my sister's going as well. So I called them up and they said, yeah, what grade have you got at A level? And I was like, this is my grade. So they're like, lovely. So they accepted me on the phone. Into this uni to do beauty. Now, I was so over the moon, but I was actually very scared because I'm like, how am I going to tell my parents?
You've been sneaky already.
How can I tell my parents that I'm not going to be doing psychology and I'm going to be doing beauty? I couldn't tell them. I mean, this was just like, yeah. So I didn't tell them. I didn't say a word. So the only time when I actually mentioned it to my parents was when we were driving down from Derbyshire to London for them to actually settle us into our accommodation.
Oh my God. So what did you tell them that you were going to study?
So, well, cognitive psychology.
Oh my God.
That was my degree. That was what we were going to do. That's what I was going to do. So on the way down to London now, I break the news and my dad literally nearly crashed the car. It's only Lord have his mercies and he was so upset with me. He was like, what's going on? He was really upset. And I can understand that looking back now because back in the day, beauty therapy was all about acrylic nails and makeup.
It didn't sound
But I had a passion. And I knew what I wanted to do. And that was my way to get in. And all of those years since I sat in that first lesson, I've loved every single minute of it. Wow. And, guess who's my number one fan now?
Your dad?
My dad. So whenever I'm travelling back up to Castle Donington, where they live now in the country, have you got my products? He puts his order in. He loves it, and he looks super young as well.
I can imagine. I can imagine that.
Yeah. So that's really where the story started, and that's how I got into it. And I think the lesson I would say to anybody there from that experience is to follow your heart. You know, if you have a burning desire, I think if you've got a burning passion, and if you've got a really true love for a subject, for a skill, for a hobby, it means something. It's powerful. Follow it. Because, you know, if it's there and you love it, follow that dream. Just absolutely follow it. And don't be afraid to say whatever, because I was afraid in the beginning to follow my dream. But in the end, I've stayed on that same road for 25 years and I never, ever regret any of it.
It's amazing. First of all, I just want to pick up a few things I've heard in that story. Passion.
Yes.
Have a passion for something.
Yes.
And you went for it. It was difficult. And a lot of times, especially for our younger viewers, it can be difficult. But prayerfully, you know, speak to your parents, speak wisdom, seek wisdom, seek counsel.
Yeah.
But, you know, go ahead, follow your passion, follow your dreams. Sometimes you might have to do it on the side, but do it.
That's right. Yeah.
Don't let anything stop you. Another thing that I've picked up from Antonia's story that I loved was you were in two situations. You were not happy with your skin and you had to stay at home on a Friday. But not being happy with your skin, not being happy with your skin brought forth a product.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to create a solution for that problem.
But back then, though, I didn't realise I
Well,
wanted to create a solution.
You wanted to, though, because you wanted a solution for your own skin.
Yeah, but I didn't want to create one. Goodness gracious.
Yes, but you wanted to solve it.
I wanted to solve that
You wanted
issue.
to get rid of it.
Yes, yeah.
You wanted to get rid of
Yeah,
it.
I wanted to understand
What was going on.
why.
Yes,
You know,
and then if
what
there
is
was
this?
something that could make that stop, you wanted to stop it.
Yeah, but my brand didn't launch
Until much later.
17 years
I know,
later.
but that was the start of it, though. That book that you got.
So. I guess that was the start of me wanting to study skin.
And also, on a Friday, you started to use that Friday for something amazing,
I did.
which we're celebrating today.
Yeah.
So follow your passion, whichever way you have to do it. Follow your passion.
At the time, but now
She keeps bringing the lessons on. Sacrifice as well.
Sacrifice.
And what would you say are the top 3 success secrets, that have helped you along the way to overcome obstacles, challenges, that have helped you to be successul and get you where you are?
Okay, well, when you have a business, and certainly when you launch a new business, I would say it's probably the most difficult thing I've ever done in the beginning. And it was the most toughest stage in my life, where I experienced some of my darkest days. I would wake up with not 1 pence in the bank, where I'd literally sold all of my 3 beauty clinics that I had and invested that money into the brand, into packaging, into research and development, into whatever needed to happen to launch my product. And through my experiences within the industry, I knew I was pretty good at sales. But in the beginning, it just didn't work. We got ripped off and it was terrible. And it was very, very, very dark. And I just didn't know what to do. I was like, here is my passion. And I said to God, I know you've brought me here, but why are you bringing me through this? Why is it so dark? What is this? And do you know something? I actually ate lentils and rice for about 3 months because the money wasn't there. But let me say, it taught me prudence. It taught me prudence because I had to get on that phone and negotiate with my phone company, negotiate with my mortgage company, and negotiate with everybody to say, I'm in a bit of a situation. I know it's going to improve, but this is what I am in now. Can you wait? Can you accept this amount or that amount? Everybody was fine. It also taught me negotiation skills where, you literally negotiate. So for example, today, we get told a price. Yeah, we can afford that. But doesn't mean you pay it. No. You can negotiate that right down. So never ever stop negotiating. And And as I say, it taught me patience, because things don't happen overnight. Success and big success does not happen overnight. You have to grind and grind and grind and grind. And even when you have reached that level of success, you still do that.
That's amazing. So, prudence. So it taught you to be prudent.
Yeah.
It taught you negotiation skills. So you actually learned the skills through the obstacles, through the challenges.
Yes.
So you're not even saying, I had this skill, or this is an attribute that I had. You're saying, when we're going through, these are the things that I learned. So even as you go in your journey of entrepreneurship, in your journey of fulfilling purpose, in your journey of following your passion, what can you learn? So Antonia shared with us, she learned to be prudent, she learned negotiation skills, and she also learned to be patient. Because we need that in every aspect of life. And we know that we're working towards our goals, towards our dreams, towards our aspirations. We will get there one day. And that's why we set mini goals.
That's right.
So that you get to the first one, you get to the second one, you get to the third one. We know there is the final one that you're waiting for. But take it one step at a time. But sometimes we've got that vision in our mind.
Yeah.
But that is a hallmark of success. It keeps changing. It keeps changing.
Yeah.
As long as you're here on earth, you keep fulfilling your purpose in different ways.
You keep evolving and everything.
Yes.
And I've got another tip for all of those ladies and gentlemen out there is, take your time. Don't be in too much of a rush. First you crawl, then you can walk, and then you run.
That's amazing.
Okay?
That's amazing.
And then also, I've got another saying for you. If it has to be now, and if someone's saying it has to be now, then it has to be a no. You take your time and you get it right, and you shape it and you pristine it and you mold it and you get it right. Don't rush. It always has its consequences.
That's amazing. And it's obvious that Antonia has lived that and experienced that the way she says it with passion. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Antonia. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have been impacted in any way by today's episode, please drop a comment on our social media handles at Excelwoman with Tobi on Facebook and Instagram, at Excelwoman TV on Twitter, or email us hello@excelwoman.tv. God bless you and see you again soon. Thank you and bye-bye.